Let us pray. Almighty God, the creator and ruler of heaven and earth, we beseech thee to inspire and guide all our actions so that we may always walk in the path of justice, love, and charity to one another. Help us with thy grace to do only those things that will promote the unity, peace, happiness, and prosperity of Nigeria in general, and Lagos State in particular. Amen. Good afternoon, distinguished colleagues. You are all welcome to today's sitting. Let us go through the votes and proceedings of Tuesday, 10th March 2020. Page 102. One 103, 104. I have examined the votes and proceedings of Tuesday, 10th March 2020, and approval is here granted. Any message from the governor?
Right, Honorable Speaker, distinguished honorable members, there is no message from Mr. Governor, please.
Any other announcements?
Mr. Speaker, sir, there is no announcement.
Petitions?
None, Mr. Speaker, sir.
Matter of urgent public importance? Honorable Rotimi Olowo.
Good afternoon, Mr. Speaker, my colleague, good afternoon. Mr. Speaker, my attention was drawn to a petition purportedly written by an NGO, signed by one Comrade Buna, on the issues that borders on the image of this house. I went through the petition, and I'm here saying that it is fallacious, it is malicious, and calculated at destroying the image of this house. And it borders on the 80 vehicles they said this house bought within 11 months that total about 2.4 billion naira. I'm not new in this house. I'm a fourth timer. I joined this house in 2007. And it is the norm, as budgeted for, that for every assembly, since I joined this house on the 6th assembly, we always get 2 vehicles before the end of that assembly. In 2007, I was given an official vehicle, and later, before the assembly got terminated, I got a backup car that is not as big, as great. Obviously, the essence of the backup car, like we all know, is peradventure the official vehicle had issues, it will stand in until it is rectified. I'm saying this because it has been the norm since 2007. I joined this house till this moment, today. And we know that all these vehicles are not only budgeted for, but for the period I was in this house since Right Honorable Ikuforiji was the Speaker, we have enjoyed same. For the matter under consideration, Mr. Speaker and my colleague, it borders on the fact that I remember vividly that as at the time before the election, some of our colleagues are not coming back. We're getting agitated that they've not gotten their backup vehicle. We too, in parliamentary meetings, not just in meetings, we always tell Mr. Speaker, we can't leave, the 8th Assembly cannot just wind up without we getting our backup cars. And this, by the grace of God, Mr. Speaker kept telling us, oh, the resources is not as buoyant, but immediately we have good resources, we'll be able to do that. And after much pressure, we got it in 2019, April. The honorable members that are no longer here, they got theirs. And for the members that are here today, I don't know whether they gave you batch, and the answer is no, because you are new. You're supposed to first get your official car, after that is backup. For those that have left, all of them got the backup car, including myself, and many of us that are still in this house, that are returned as honorable members of this house. So, after that out, that went with the 8th Assembly. This 9th Assembly, we just got in our official vehicles about 2 months ago, precisely in November, December. And my take is, when people cannot just sit down and get their facts, they go bunker and be telling the whole world what is not. But I know that none of the new members here today, about 11 of them, got 2 vehicles. And there is no way we deliberate on issues that borders on our official cars that it will not be discussed during parliamentary. And you all bear me witness. This was discussed through parliamentary. Many of us agitated for Prado. Speaker didn't want to give us. We compelled him. As our leader, we told him that's what we wanted. And I acceded to that. So my question is, why now? And secondly is that all the non-Eastern laws were abided by. Number one, it has to be budgeted for. It was in the budget. It wasn't as if, and we are all beneficial to it. I don't know what is happening in this house any longer. That we are beneficiaries to these largesse, and again, we will not go out and be insinuating, instigating public against this noble house. This is an institution. It's not about Rotimi Olowo. It's not about Mr. Right Honorable Obasa. It's an institution, and it has its name. It has its respect. We want to call my colleague to say it is high time we discipline ourselves. And it is high time we do what is right. It is high time we stopped instigating the public against this house. One for all for one. Mr. Speaker, it beat my imagination, and that's why I'm saying this. Because they said Speaker didn't call anybody, he did it on his own. Obviously, this was discussed during parliamentary. Then by the time he's going to procurement and likes, does he need to call everybody again? Well, all of us have agreed that that's what we wanted. And he bought, again, for the principal officers, a more sophisticated ones, better in size, better in quality than what they gave ordinary members. So I don't know where these insinuations are coming from. So I'm saying that that write-up and petition was written in bad light. There is no iota of truth in it. And our speaker did not act without the concurrence of all the members. we want to tell everybody that is ready to listen that the Speaker acted in good faith. We were part of the decision, and what he has done is within the norms. It's not new. His predecessors even did it. It was budgeted for, so I don't know the noise about Speaker spending. And in addition to that, we even discussed in the parliamentary, sir, if you can remember vividly, my colleagues, that the buses we are using for committee work, they are not too good. For us to be able to do our oversight effectively, there's a need for us to have new buses. And buses were procured for our own effectiveness, for one of the three cardinal functions of a legislator. Number one is representation. Number two is oversight. And number three is lawmaking. In one of the cardinal functions, we call Speaker, we need to be effective on that so that we can have value for money. And he acceded to that based on our request. So, and that was part of the money they are talking about, quoting about. The man that did that, he must have been doing that for pecuniary interest. I will not blame him. Maybe it's been a while, he has not been patronized, so if he gets some patrons or some clients that want to take to their biddings so that he can amass more money, that's his own headache. But our headache is that our own Speaker has not done anything ultra vires. He did it in consonance with us. In fact, we compelled him to do that, if I can use that word. We cannot compel the Speaker, but we persuaded him to do that, and that's what we did. Mr. Speaker, that is what I saw, that it's highly infuriating, it's nauseating. And if case not, it's criminal, because like there is no iota of truth in that. So, Mr. Speaker, I will create the indulgence of my colleagues to contribute and to say the truth, because I'm before the world. I'm saying the truth. I fear nobody. If the Speaker has done anything to the contrary and in defiance to the all extant laws, I will be bold to say that. But he has done well, and my colleagues, I think it is I will track this. And I don't know. If I have my way, I would have requested for this House to press for charges so that to serve as deterrence to the writer of that petition. Because if you allow this to go on unchecked, more may come. But if you put it in the right perspective and we do the needful, because what he has done is criminal, because no truth in that. So, Mr. Speaker, my colleague, with your concurrence, I think we need to make the writer of that petition to pay for it dearly. Thank you.
Honorable Makinde.
Thank you, the rest, Honorable Speaker. I think the issue raised by one of our colleagues here, the Honorable Olowo, is an issue that is very, very appalling, is very degrading. And the House of Assembly as an institution, we have ways and manner by which we regulate ourselves. And every institution, they have ways and manners by which they regulate themselves, even the professional bodies. If I was once a civil servant, and then we have an official vehicles that we use for official duties, and to now come at this end and to have an official vehicle for the good use of the populace, I don't think it's too much for us to be having that. Two, this vehicle they are mentioning, it is well appropriated, and this vehicle is not our own personal vehicle. It is being bought in the name of Lagos State House of Assembly. And if by the end of the tenure, if anybody has interest on this vehicle will be boarded. That is, you have to even pay after deducting the depreciation value. The remaining value of it, you have to pay for it. So this vehicle is not maybe a largesse or a jamboree that you are being given off. It's an official vehicle. And the issue of some people saying the receipt, the vehicle is not being bought in our own name. So why asking for the receipt? The receipt is, the House of Assembly, they are the custodian of the receipt, and even the vehicle. They can recall for the vehicle at any moment because it's not being bought by your own name So it's not yet your own until the tenure expired. So I want to just caution the public, though it's not new. Even at the National Assembly, we have all sort of news about whatever they do. Even if it's bicycle that's been bought for all of us, they will still make news about it. That's where some people live, so we should not even blame them as such. So the Right Honorable Speaker, my colleagues, I think we are still on right track. And what we are doing, we are not, flaw or make foul of the extant law of this House and the federal government of Nigeria. Thank you very much.
Honorable Tabitha Kwaja. Put off your light if you have none.
Thank you, Right Honorable Speaker. My name is Temitope Adewale. I'm a member representing the great people of Ifa-Kojayi. Mr. Speaker, over the weekend, I've read a lot of publications that has made me very, very unhappy. And as a first-timer in this institution, I walked in here with my head's eye. Mr. Speaker, all of the things I've read in the papers, in the social media, and in the news are not palatable. Mr. Speaker, I've been in this House barely 9 months, and I have only received one car. The car I received was for official duties, and it was not even registered in my name. It was registered in Lagos State House of Assembly. Mr. Speaker, I have a few questions to ask. In the purchase of the vehicles, was due process followed? Yes. Was it budgeted and appropriated for? Yes. Did we have autonomy when the last cars that were bought as backup cars at the House of Assembly? No. The last cars that were bought within the space of 11 months, as said, were backup cars, and it was bought by the former governor of Lagos State, not the Right Honorable Speaker, because we had no autonomy then. Mr. Speaker, all I've read in the news is quite shameful, that an organization who says they fight for human rights would not go ahead to do investigative journalism or find out what exactly is happening in the House before they go ahead to write petitions to authorities that matter. Mr. Speaker, I am of the opinion that the human rights, the body that wrote the letter should also be called to books to come up with the information they have and the proof that they have for that. Mr. Speaker, I've belonged to this House barely 9 months, like I said, and I've witnessed a lot of good things coming from you. Mr. Speaker, I hardly feel like I'm a first-time member in the House. You've given us the courage to continue to speak on the floor of the House. You've given us what we call transparency, for there is no decision made at plenary that we never discuss as parliamentary. Mr. Speaker, just like Honorable Olowo has said, we almost, if the word is permissible, sir, compelled you to get the SUV because of the terrains. And you yielded to the decisions of the members. Mr. Speaker, a lot of allegations were made that were not so palatable. I think it would be, my colleagues and I think we will support that we should further investigate the human rights that wrote this petition and take actions necessary, sir. Thank you.
Thank you. Honorable Victor Akode.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I rise this afternoon with sadness in my heart. But before I go that, I say anything, I want to refer us to the 7th schedule that we, the oaths, we actually deposed to. And what the oath says, oath of members of either National or House of Assembly, I do solemnly swear, and not just swear, that whatever we do will be in tandem with the rules of the House. When we go through all those, I call it rubbish, that was published in the social media, one is taken aback, and to actually look at all the laws, whether we have conformed with some of those laws that is guiding the House. First of all, the schedule is, 7th schedule, the oath is from the Constitution. And again, I would like to refer us to some of the sections of this Constitution that empowers us to do what we have done. First and foremost, I would like to take us to section 92. And with the kind permission of Mr. Speaker, I will so read section 92, subsection 1. It says, subject to the provision of this Constitution, a House of Assembly or of a state shall consist of 3 or 4 times the number of seats, which there shall be a speaker and a deputy speaker of the House of Assembly, who shall be elected by the members of the House from them among themselves. It does not even show that there is anywhere in the Constitution that says that the principal officers is mentioned. It is just for administrative conveniences. And again, when I peruse the Constitution properly, in the Constitution, it only states that where we must, if we ought to remove the speaker or the deputy speaker, we ought to be 2/3. There is nowhere in the Constitution that says where all other leaders is to be removed. What we have is that section 98(2), very explicit. It said, except as otherwise provided by the Constitution, there require majority for the purpose of determining any question shall be a simple majority. When you read from all the rubbish that has been circulating in the social media, one is taken aback. We have about 26 or 27 or 28. And what we have is simple majority. Even 26 is surplusage. We don't even need 26 members before we can say, okay, let's do it. But all we needed is just simple majority. That is not done yet. In a situation where 1 or 2 members is not on the floor of the House, whatever we do or whatever decision that is taken is binding. That can be seen in section 102. It is clear. There is no ambiguity. And that is why when we say that whatever we have done, we've done in good faith. Let us go into our rules, the rules of the House, because we take precedence from the rules. And what the rule says, I will start by just referring us to Rule 24 and paragraph 7. It states very clearly that in a situation that is under the duties and functions of the officers of the House, especially Mr. Speaker, and what it says is that the Speaker shall take the share on every legislative duties, but the paragraph 7 says, he shall interpret the rules. Only Mr. Speaker has the sanctity, the power to interpret the rules. All other people that are interpreting the rules do so in at their own peril. So it is what is normal to Mr. Speaker. He will tell us what the rule says. He has only the power to interpret, just as the judiciary has the power to interpret the law. Again, I want to have our mind to section 35, Rule 35 of the House Rules. There is no ambiguity. We need to school the general public so that they will know the working of the House. They will know that we are guided with rules. We are guided with laws. And section Rule 35 of the House is so very, very clear. And what it says, with the permission of Mr. Speaker, I will read. Change of leadership. After due notice to the House, the majority party and the minority parties may change the leader and the whip, deputy leader and deputy whip, provided that the change is made by the majority of the members of the party in the House. Majority, section 98 sub 2 of the Constitution has tell us what majority means. Simple majority. And there is nowhere in the rule that state whether they commit any crime or not, whether there is misconduct or not. It says, if we so wish. It's not until when somebody commits a crime or commits atrocity or anything. If all of us so wish, and we come together and said, okay, we have decided, let another person take charge. It is administrative convenience. It's not a must. But that is not where I am actually going. Where I'm actually going is to actually drive home Rule 68. Rule 68 is very, very, very germane. And maybe, I am taken aback that some of our colleagues that were affected in this imbroglio, they are four-timer and third-timer. They ought to be armed with the rules and the law. We make law. We have to be at our best at all times. Rule 68 of the House. Decision of the chair is final. That is not just what interests me. I was bothered, sir, by reading so many rules. I want to know where we have heard. But let me read. With kind permission of Mr. Speaker, the Speaker in the House and the Chair in any committee shall be responsible for the observance of the rules of order in the House and committee respectively, and their decision upon any point of order shall not be open to appeal, underline, and shall not be reviewed by the House except upon a substantive motion. Mr. Speaker, in this refers to our Mr. Speaker and the chairman, that is Mr. Speaker in plenary, and the chairman in this room refers to Mr. Speaker in the committee of the whole. And from what we have read, whatever he does is final, and it shall not be appealed. That is the import of that. Again,
when are you going to get to where you are going?
Yes, I'm very close, sir. Very, very close. Just give me two more rules, and because I am very, very, maybe because of the House Committee Chairman you made me, I have been trying to research. And again, Rule 71, especially 4A and B, is very clear. And what it says is party naming or the suspension of a particular member or members of the House. And when a member is named by the Speaker, if the offenses is minor, one, the Speaker may order the member to withdraw from the remainder of the legislative day. But if the matter appears to the Speaker to be of more serious nature, the Speaker shall put the question on motion. Being made, no amendment, adjournment, or debate, no amendment, adjournment, or debate being allowed. If we look at this import, we'll just oppose it with the rule 75, 1G, paragraph 1G. And it states, he said, in a question where somebody is to be suspended, motion that a member be suspended will be moved. Motion will be moved. And again, no amendment. The only thing we needed is just for the speaker to move the motion, and every other person reacted to it. I now start asking myself, why are all these rubbish that is on the social media, why is it coming now when we ought to know, but it seems we did not know? Mr. Speaker, it is high time we have to discipline ourselves. Once we are not disciplined, we are not disciplined. And the sanctity of this house is very, very important. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Thank God for arriving safely.
Mr. Speaker, sir, before I arrive, sir,
I don't know what
I want to advise your mind to the ethics of the house. When we say misconduct, it is not just misconduct. The house have the code of ethics. And the code of ethics is not made today. It is here. It tells us of how we are going to conduct ourselves. If anybody is looking for misconduct, just like the other day, the journalist was asking us questions, I refer them to the code of ethics of the house. Section 13 of this code of ethics tells you that you can be suspended, you can withdraw privileges. And when a privilege is withdrawn, the car is a privilege, the office is a privilege, many things that we enjoy are privileges. Thank you. God bless you, sir.
Thank you. Honorable Tobu.
Thank you very much, Mr. Speaker. Well, the motion on ground, the issue on ground were two. One has been adequately dealt with by Honorable Akonde. The other that really bothered me is on the issue of the vehicle. First and foremost, I want to appeal to the fifth columnist to allow the House to be. This is a parliament of 40 members, and we were empowered to conduct our affairs in a way that will bring peace to the community. We are doing that religiously. If there were issues, there were mechanisms put in place to resolve it. So the fifth columnists who are not part of this parliament should, for God's sake, allow us to conduct our affairs, and they should not be influencing anything from the outside world. That will not be too good for this Lagos state. Secondly, on the issue of the vehicle were purchased for our activities. After all, we are 42 members elected by Lagosians and residents to guide the affairs of this state for 4 years. The governor and his deputy, and the 40 of us. I've never seen anywhere where issues were raised on vehicle purchase by the executives, by the commissioners. How many fleets in the governor's convoy, with due respect, without being biased? What is the vehicle being used by the judge? Nobody has seen it on the social media. Even the military men, we do see them when they pass through us, customs, navies, in convoys. We were only given one vehicle and backup. Big women will come in about 2-3 years to the end of the tenure. So if we are given a vehicle, I don't see any dust to be raised on it. Are they saying we should be using a recreative vehicle that will break down midway? Are they saying we should be wearing cloth? Even this house has not been giving us clothing allowances. We use our money to do that. So for God's sake, I want to beg the fifth columnist to allow this house to stay. And even in the ministry, the technocrats, when they were in level 15, level 16, they were usually allocated a vehicle. And if they are retiring, they go with that vehicle. I have never seen, they bothered it to them on a pro rata basis. And that's what we do. So nobody has ever raised dust on that. So I want to beg the fifth columnist to allow this house to stay. We are one indivisible family. If there were issues, we will resolve it internally. No external person should come in and invade this house. That will not be palatable. Mr. Speaker, that is my submission.
Thank you. I think the issue wasn't about purchasing vehicles. You know, the backup and the current official vehicles were both joined together, you know, to become a very huge substance before everybody that, oh, they bought 80 cars in 1 year. So I think the submission, we need to shed more light, as Olowo did, on that. That's, okay, those who left during 8th Assembly, those who did not had the opportunity of coming back, so they had a backup. Likewise, those that returned in the 8th Assembly. So the issue of Corolla was all about 8th Assembly. The official vehicles for the 9th Assembly, which we got about a month or 2 months ago, like probably after 6 months of resumption. So we need to, at least, though it was a deliberate action to create unnecessary attention, because definitely the man that gave the information, or the person that stole the voucher and gave to the man that wrote the story, at least will have informed them the true story behind it. But it was deliberately couched that number of vehicles was bought so. So that is the area we just need. But you know, I'll come back to that. There's no need more. Before we go, let Honorable C. Yusuf. Put up your light, please. Put up your lights, please.
Mr. Speaker, member of this great house, thank you, Mr. Speaker, for giving me the opportunity to speak. And God will continue to increase your wisdom. Mr. Speaker, this matter is so simple. Somebody wrote a petition about the official vehicle that this house possessed. It may not be enlightened, but by what Honorable Olowo raised is fundamental. It's for us to give the picture, the true picture of what happened. And it's an empirical thing. We know the total number of the member that is here. We know the total number of people who have gone. Yes, we obtained the vehicle, and also we deliberated about the kind of vehicle that we want. The vehicle that the man wrote about, the official price, can be proved. We have the procedure by which the possession of material that we embark upon. So we have this empirical proof. Mr. Speaker, for this house to continue to enjoy what the international member has no role for, and a house which is above the common standard, is equivalent on us to prove to the world that what these people wrote is not correct, by just prove to them like what we are doing now. And those who are involved in possessing the vehicle, they can tender whatever it is in, by tendering how much. They have quoted a very big vehicle, I mean, very big amount of money. The total number, when you divide it, you'll be able to know what each vehicle costs. It's not a very difficult thing, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, every one of us enjoy the vehicle. I have the backup. I have the present one. Yes, I have it, which we have been enjoying. And that's just a fact that cannot be disputed. But when they now say that we exaggerated the cost of the vehicle, can be proved. We can prove that, Mr. Speaker. And I want us to do that very well to clear the house of the something. Mr. Speaker, again, I'm not a lawyer. But at least this is my third time in this house. Mr. Speaker, it's not every matter that can be resolved in a legal manner. There are some that can be resolved politically. Honorable Akande stood up and quoted so many verses. And also talking about those who are not here. They are our colleagues. It could happen to you. We need to resolve this. Like when Honorable Tunde Brahma was giving the press statement, he said we have mechanism by which we can resolve this issue amicably. We are one family. If it not happen to you today, it can happen to you tomorrow. And let me tell you, you are not going to be affected like what they are doing now. None of our name has been mentioned. And I told Mr. Speaker one day, I said, Mr. Speaker, and I'm going to repeat it for the people. I said, a mosquito, the smaller mosquito went out. And when he returned home, he told the mother, my mother, people love me. They were clapping for me today. And I was so excited. The mother said, look, it is only God that saved you. They were not clapping for you. They wanted to kill you. And that is just the situation of this here. Mr. Speaker, you are the one that people are shouting about. Please, let's resolve this issue amicably. Then when you are now saying that we should base everything on the rule, yes, it is good. And that is due process if you do that. But rule can also be, rule are made for men. Men are not made for rule. Please, Mr. Speaker, we can resolve this issue amicably. As for the person who wrote the petition, we can call the man, like Honorable Olowo has said, let's call the man. The fact that he has got that we do not get, let us know. Who disclose all these things, we will know. And that is exactly my submission, Mr. Speaker. Thank you very much.
Yeah, thank you, Honorable Bisi Yusuf. Honorable Shao.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Good afternoon, colleagues. There are two issues here, and I believe Honorable Akande has dissected one of them without any lacuna. Okay? That's good. So I'll speak to what Honorable Olowo raised, which is with respect to the purchase of vehicles. What I observed from the article, because I read it as well, is an attempt to cast aspersion on the person of Mr. Speaker, as if Mr. Speaker did something fraudulent in the estimate of the writer, and also that Mr. Speaker was acting on his own. We thank God, Honorable Olowo, support everything he has said, was in this same chamber during parliamentary. I remember then Mr. Speaker vehemently refused to do what we were asking for. I think he was trying to buy us a smaller Toyota product, but we prevailed on him. We prevailed on him. So that was a collective decision. And I remember when he came here and said the vehicles would be delivered in batches, everybody was joyous. We gave him a standing ovation at parliamentary on that day. So the issue is, he didn't act alone. We acted collectively. So if that person wants to rewrite his petition, he should write to the entire House of Assembly. The second part of that petition tried to talk about the amount, whether they follow due process. I know this House of Assembly follows due process. Procurement process is followed in total. On the issue of pricing, like Honorable Makinde said, it is not our personal car. I need a car. I don't want to ask how much they bought government car. It is government's car. It's for them to provide it for us to do our job. If we are fortunate, we finish our tenure. We're only lucky that people returned us here. Because if we are fortunate to finish our tenure, we have the right of first refusal to purchase it. If you cannot afford to purchase it, it is not by force. It will still remain with government. It's just the right of first refusal. And why they normally do it that way is because of straight line depreciation that you have in state accounting. So basically, it's sold for the net book value at the end of a term. So I don't understand whether I don't need a customs paper for government vehicle. Why would I ask for customs paper of government vehicle? I just bring out my paper and say this vehicle belongs to Lagos State government. If there's any further query, I'll call Mr. Clark. Mr. Clark will deal with it appropriately. That is what I believe. So the person trying to raise an issue that, oh, whether the car was fraudulently bought, it was bought from, I think it's just somebody trying to be mischievous. Like Mr. Speaker said, and Olowo had mentioned it earlier, the 80 cars was for 2 terms, last term and this term. We are only fortunate to be here. 11 members, let me say 10, did not return. Some went to higher positions. They got that bid. They are not getting this one. The new members have gotten this one. They did not get the other one. So by creating that volume, 80 cars within 11 months, the person was being malicious. Mr. Speaker, I want to tell you that this decision, this attack on your person is an attack on the entire House, and we stand with you, Mr. Speaker. I support Honorable Olowo with the motion he has placed on the floor. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Honorable Desmond.
Thank you, my right honorable speaker. Sir, you cannot overflog this issue because it's a very serious matter. Mr. Speaker, I stand to add my voice to what my colleagues have said, while I totally align myself with them. I believe they have rightfully said the words in different formats, in different ways. But the truth is this, Mr. Speaker, there is an attack on your person. And that vis-a-vis is an attack on this House. And to every member that cares about the sanctity of this House. Mr. Speaker, Honorable Yishao, Honorable Victor, even the mover of this, this particular subject, has made it very clear that yes, there is disparity between the old assembly and the new one. Sir, I was taken aback and I was very surprised that my name was also mentioned in an article. And I said, which kind of wala be this now? No be speaker na the chat. Because Mr. Speaker is strong to handle the attack. But we are here to support. I am here to support. I want to categorically say and refute that statement that was made to say that I was not around to sign. I was. Yes, I had an excuse to travel. I came back and I appended my signature. So, Mr. Speaker, I am saying this in front of everyone, the world, to the comrade, Bona, who I don't know where he's from, who he is, and to tell a lot of people out there that this House is for the interest of the public. If you have any questions to ask, ask the House. We will answer. We are here for the people. Don't bring out things to scatter or to malign or to change the House from being who they are. Sir, we put you there because we believe in you. And you will remain there and you will do it in health and in peace. We are here to support you. We will give you all the adequate support. You are a human being. We are not asking for Voltron. We are asking for a just and simple human being. And to that, sir, you have been. Thank you very much. We will continue to support you. We will continue to support your decisions. Honorable Victor has made it clear how the speaker interprets it. Let's let the public know how the speaker interprets it. So, sir, your interpretation becomes my interpretation. Thank you very much, sir.
Honorable Sholaja.
Good afternoon, Mr. Speaker, and my colleagues. I've also gone through the petition, through the social medias, and I feel the petitioners, maybe it's an history student or whatever, look, you, what is wrote is flimsy and immaterial. If in the sense that the accounting standard, the movable asset is going to last years. And after 4 years, the residual value or net book value will be sold. So who is using it or who is interested in it? And apart from that, if you look at the issue on ground, a term is a term. The 8th assembly is different from 9th assembly. The 8th assembly received the backup late session of 8th assembly. And we are now in 9 assemblies. The new members are here. They have not partake in the 8th assembly now. They have not received anything. And if you quantify the money is what is triggered the man. Maybe I have not able to touch millions of naira in his own life. I don't know. And because if you look at how much are they selling a new vehicle today in the world, talk less of Nigeria. Most of the vehicles is being imported to Nigeria, and by the time you convert it to dollar or personally or whatever, you will look at it and accumulate it to the 40 members. And by the now you now said 40 members, 40 to 40, 40 plus 40, 80. That 8th assembly, 9th assembly. I think the man did have not accounting knowledge at all. And what Mr. Speaker have done, Mr. Speaker have done something that is not common. You have a principal officer that you're supposed to discuss with. Mr. Speaker bring himself down to the level of other members, come to the parliamentary, explain everything to us, and we now decide, Mr. Speaker, this is what we want. He said, well, that's what you want. We said, that is what we want. And everybody receiving the vehicle, and we are enjoying it. Is there any crime? Whatever decision you have taken is binding on us because both of us support what you have done. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Honorable Council.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I was getting worried when everyone seemed to be talking and I didn't get the chance to speak since. But it won't be fair for me not to lend my voice to this particular issue on ground. I want to start with the position of the vehicles before I go into other issues that I may wish to raise here. Can I just say unequivocally that the purchase of the vehicles, Mr. Speaker, and the House has not acted ultra-virus. It is the policy of the federal government to purchase non-tobacco vehicles for the use of government officials. That in itself is number one. There are a few disparities with the petition as regards the finance part of it that was quoted, the different parts of the total sums. There was a particular one, at some point, it was 2.4 million, 2.4 million. At another point, it was 3.6. At another point, it was 4.2. You know, the writer kept on quoting different figures. Why did this figure start increasing, geometrically? Why? From nowhere. For what reason? Those are fundamental issues. Now, this brings me furthermore to other points that I would like to raise concerning this. If peradventure the erstwhile governor, Akinwumi Ambode, had done the needful, as at the point when you, our leader, brought this thing forward to us in parliamentary to speak about the backup vehicles, as at 2018, thereabout, because I can remember. But for administrative injustice or one thing or the other, it was delayed. It was delayed, and which led it into the end of 2019 before we got it in April 2019. That was the foundation of where all of this started. That was the opportunity that was created for a man from nowhere who calls himself a comrade that is supposed to be fighting for justice and equity to conjure and merge things together just because he wants to get high figures. It is totally unacceptable, it is preposterous, and it is alarming. It is not something that should be allowed. That is on the issue of the cars. Every other person I've spoken in support of this particular issue, which is the car, so I wouldn't like to overflow this. But those were the points that I wanted to raise concerning the car. Furthermore, sir, I woke up over the weekend to a series of articles in the newspaper. But one that caught my own particular interest was the one of the Punch newspaper on the 14th of March, purportedly given as a submission by Honorable Rotimi Abiru, who happened to be the former chief whip of this prestigious House of Assembly. As a principal officer, as a chief whip, I'm getting somewhere, sir. As a chief whip of the House of Assembly, you are the chairman of ethics, protocols, and privileges of the House of Assembly. What has been done in line with the position that you once occupied, was it ethical? Did you go in accordance to the protocol of the House? There were issues concerning privileges that had been raised even before the issues came about, even before the suspension came about. When we were in parliamentary, I can remember on several occasions, Mr. Speaker, before I go on, can I just say emphatically that you're a good man. You're a good man because I know that in parliamentary, when we're in parliamentary, you usually call the attention of the principal officers to ask them, do you have one or two things to say concerning issues that are raised? How in the world would someone now term such a character as a form of dictatorship? You are a leader who knows how to carry along every single member in here. And I beat my chest that every single member seated here can lay credence to this statement that I have made, that there is no decision that is made in this house that we do not seek the concurrence. You do not seek the concurrence of every member here seated. I can speak for myself. Some other members have spoken for themselves. Every other member that seems to have a dissenting view, well, that is their own headache. But the truth is this. In parliamentary, when we make decisions for the common interest, we make it in collaboration with each other. You are supposed to discuss with your principal officers, sir. You come to the floor of the House in parliamentary to discuss fully with your members, to carry them along fully in issues that affect the House. Furthermore, sir, in the interpretation of the law, Honorable Akode has already done so much of that. Rule 24, Rule 35, Rule 68. Everything has a process. Everything has a process. And I must say, emphatically again, that all these processes, in my own opinion, in my own observation, have been followed. Sitting on this premise, however, sir, I would say and conclude that all the articles, all the submissions that we have seen so far in the dailies is something that is distasteful, it's aggressive, is preposterous, and it is quite alarming. I would re-emphasize that. And I say that investigative procedures should be taken to further find out the authenticity of that particular comrade who has decided to tarnish the image of the House, and in person of Right Honorable Speaker, Right Honorable Mudashiru Obasa. I would say it again, sir. We are solidly behind you. I am solidly behind you because I appreciate your leadership. Thank you.
Honorable Kennedy Joseph.
Thank you, the Right Honorable Speaker. Lots of our members, of our colleagues have said a lot of things in respect of what happened, most especially in respect of the petition. I read the petition, and lots of our friends, they have been calling, asked some funny questions. Like what other colleagues have said is very, very embarrassing. On that particular day, though when we were talking about 80 vehicles, as it was being said by Honorable Yishal, we are part of the newcomer, and we were given only one car. Even when we were in the executive, I've been asking some of the old colleagues then, before getting that vehicle, that when I was a member of the executive then, within 2 weeks, they will give you official vehicle. Then here, it's getting to like 7 months, 6 months. I said, is it how you are doing it here? And I was told that is how it happens. And I know then, at the parliamentary, like what Honorable Ishao said, Mr. Speaker himself told us that I don't want you people to have this type of vehicle. And we all insisted that that is what we want. Even to an extent that some of us are even suggesting that if you even want us to add money to it, we are ready to do that. And for someone now to come out and be saying that that decision was unilateral, the Mr. Speaker, this and that, nothing like that. And with what Honorable from Ekpe, Honorable Tobu said the other time, when the judiciary are being given vehicles, the pressmen are there, you won't have any complaints. When we are in executives, when we are being given vehicles, nobody will talk. But when it comes to the legislators, we'll be hearing a lot of things as if the vehicle is our personal vehicle. And if you doesn't do the right thing, probably like the other, was it not day before yesterday, that they have an explosion at Amuwo Dolphin. If Honorable Macaulay, she wasn't there on time, people will try and say something about her. But all other political or elected officials, if they did not go there on time, nobody will complain. It was when I'm in a legislative arm that I discovered that a lot of challenges, probably because we are very, very close to the people, they challenge us, saying a lot of things that are highly embarrassing. And at times, you see some people will be calling you thieves. You see some people, like what Honorable Shola just said, some people will be saying that he's not talking about vehicles. Has he used vehicles before? Things like that. No, lots of people here have been using vehicles. And if it comes to the end of this tenure, and if they don't even want, they said, okay, you cannot, they are not ready to board the vehicle, you return the vehicle for them. They can even call you that, please return the vehicle. You have to do it. God forbid, if you have any court case and they said, because of this, you are being removed, are you not going to return all the government properties with you? How could now somebody will now be saying that because of that, those particular vehicles that you have gotten, it belongs to you? So I want them, I'm not saying you should not write a petition, I'm not saying you should not criticize. Let it be a constructive criticism. So not just be talking for talking's sake. If there's any issue, there's a mechanism, as been said by Honorable Akonde, for us to iron out issues within ourselves. Not that because of that, we will not be maligning the speaker, and we are maligning ourselves, every one of us. Our integrity is at stake. We are a man of integrity, and anytime, any day, I keep on saying to my children, my name, I'm not ready to sell my name for a party pot of porridge. Thank you, sir.
Honorable Fatai Mojid.
Good afternoon, Right Honorable Speaker and my distinguished colleagues. I also read in one of the national daily that there was a unilateral purchase of 80 vehicles for members of the Assembly without the consent of the member and the approval by official. Why is it now the issue of official vehicle becomes a public debate? Mr. Speaker, sir, it is pertinent to say that all the honorable members of this House agreed to these decisions at our parliamentary meeting. I will also like to emphasize the fact that the Right Honorable Speaker proposed Toyota Fortuner should be purchased. However, all the honorable member opted for Prado Jeep instead of the Toyota Fortuner proposed by the Right Honorable Speaker. Furthermore, it also said that due process was not followed in purchasing of the vehicle. In addressing this issue, fellow colleagues, it is very crucial we ask ourselves the following question. Was the expenditures in question not appropriated for? Was the certificate of no objection issued by the procurement department? If these basic elements are present, we can confidently state that due process was followed in the purchase of this vehicle. Mr. Speaker, sir, and my fellow colleagues, the members that serve in the 4th Assembly enjoy the same privilege. They got 2 vehicles. Those that serve in 5th Assembly, they got 2 vehicles. Those that serve in 6th Assembly, they got 2 vehicles. Those that serve in 7th Assembly, they got 2 vehicles. Why now are we making unnecessary noise about this? If there is any issues, let us look for a way to resolve it amongst ourselves, instead of dashing out the vital information of the House to the public. Thank you, sir.
Honorable Somolu.
Thank you, sir. I want to thank Honorable Olowo for bringing this up this afternoon. Mr. Speaker, sir, others have spoken and they have spoken well. However, I want to reiterate that you are a fearless leader, as always displayed during parliamentary, the principal officers meeting, and even during plenary, as you do give members the opportunity to speak out our minds before or to contribute before coming to a conclusion. I want to go to the issue of the vehicles. The vehicles in question were agreed upon. And the higher, will recollect that higher version of this Toyota Prado was agreed upon. We requested for the higher version, I mean with the principal officers, and which we all agreed that that is what we want. And I wonder why all these things we are, I mean, they are saying about the issue of the vehicles. And Mr. Speaker, sir, I want to attest to the fact that you are a good leader. You are a good listener, a visionary and an honest leader. And again, if I may ask, why are these people coming up now with flimsy excuses and even rubbish as said by Honorable Victor Akonde? Mr. Speaker, sir, I wonder why now. Why is it now that they are saying all this rubbish? Maybe they will be in better position to answer this question. Thank you very much, sir.
Honorable Nureni.
Good afternoon, Mr. Speaker. I would just like to say one or two things, Mr. Speaker. If you look at what has been on the social media and the newspaper, Baba Bidi said one thing: even if there is a problem, we should be able to sort it out within the house. Because the way I'm seeing things now is now getting out of hand, sir. Mr. Speaker, before I read it as well, they said you are a dictatorship, that you act like a military man. And we all here together during the last parliamentary before you agree, as my colleague have said, concerning the vehicle, that even some of us started begging you. You said we should go for Toyota Frontier. So, but we beg you, after much persuading, you agree with us that we are going to try yourself, but we are going to do it in batches. And that is how we started getting it in batches. First 10 people, then later. And I wonder, when something happened again, before you rule, you used to ask, I don't know how you say it, but when I'm here, I am very sure, you ask us, are you who's in favor, say aye, and if you are against, say nay. The other motion was put, and none of us, I think maybe one of us just said nay. So then I was now surprised when people are saying they are part of it, maybe they regret their action, they are part of it, they are not part of it. The signature was forged. Some of them even said they've signed 3 years ago before they were elected. So, I'm sorry, Mr. Speaker.
Go ahead.
Before they are elected. So, but I'm just here to let my Muslim people, my constituents know I signed my own on my own. I signed on behalf of them, and I signed because I pleased with what you are doing. So I signed. I was not forced to sign. I signed because I believe in your leadership. And what you talk about as a good listener, we talk a lot of things here that we don't need to at least to say publicly, because at times you tell us you are not interested in this matter. But when we talk to you at times, it's okay, let go. And I'm very surprised. Please let us warn those people behind all this story, please, to stop it. We can settle our difference within ourselves. Mr. Speaker, thank you very much. My colleague, thank you.
Honorable Miranda.
Good afternoon, Mr. Speaker. Good afternoon, honorable members. Well, first and foremost, Mr. Speaker, I would like to congratulate you. And my reason for saying this is, number one, I was here during the 8th Assembly, and I would also want to say that the day you brought the issue of backup car to parliamentary to discuss with every honorable member, I can remember very well, sir, that some honorable members actually raised the issue that, sir, why do we need to get a backup car? Why not let us pool the money and let's share? And you stood your ground that no, you won't do that. That the money is budgeted for backup cars and you are going to do that. That is why I have said congratulations to you. Because if you had done that then, maybe the story might have been different today. Well, Yorubas will say, because I know if you had told that line, all of us would have gotten the money for the vehicle. And my elders would say, "Ọ̀run yabọ̀ ni kì í ṣọ̀rọ̀ èèyàn kan." Maybe by now, all of us would have been lined up to come and explain ourselves. I'll just beg that they should arrange the interview, maybe according to our age. So some of us will be at the back. Well, sir. Also, I would also like to mentioned that the press conference that we held a few days ago, and just like Honorable Tunde Brahmo said, that there is a mechanism on ground to try and resolve whatever matter. I see no reason why over the weekend things should start flying around again. To me, it is uncalled for. Baba Bisi also said things can be resolved within ourselves. So if we have that belief that things can be resolved within ourselves, why go to the press? Why all the things we've been reading on social media? I don't think we need that. Yeah, I also read a whole lot of things, dictatorship and what have you. Just like people said earlier, that you proposed for Toyota Fortuner, and it was not even Toyota Fortuner. You also proposed a Chinese product, and we all said no djembe, and you agreed, because we actually pleaded that even if it is for us to add more money to what the house, to what the budget on ground for the purchase of the vehicle. But eventually you agreed that, okay, majority has the votes, and you conceded to our request. So, because if you were to do things on your own, you might have gone as well as getting us the djembe, and heaven will not fall. We will only complain, but we will still use it. And a couple of people have also spoken about the cars not registered in our names. Yeah, Lagos State House of Assembly. God forbid if anything should happen or go wrong, we have no other option than to drop the vehicle. So I see no reason why there is issue on the matter of this purchase of vehicle. And it's common that this part of the arm of government happens to suffer the most, just like Honorable Kennedy Joseph said. Any little thing, they are not doing this, they are not doing that. Nobody came into the house barefooted without a vehicle. Nobody. So on this note, Mr. Speaker, I also want to support my voice, want to support my colleagues with what they've said so far, and this is my humble submission from the people of Apapa Constituency.
Honorable Jimmy Mohammed.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker and honorable colleagues. I believe everything has been said today, from the political angle to the legal angle, where everything has been quoted to. But I would also want to crave the indulgence of the House. And also, this is because this has been the incentive and this has been the foresight of the Speaker of the House. Honorable Yusuf had said that we have our internal mechanism in which dispute resolutions are being sorted. And that is what has happened now. A committee has been set up for a reconciliation of the issues that are at hand. So I would like us and implore every member, because everything that has been said today has been right. Processes have been done the way it should have been done. The political solutions are available. It is a matter of merging both things together to see that conflict resolutions are being sought. And where best can conflict resolutions be sought, if not for the Lagos State House of Assembly? To this end, I want to say that we are on top of everything. Processes have been done, and I would like to implore all of us to adopt the same. Thank you.
Sorry, Honorable Jimmy, before you take your seat, I'm sorry I have to put you on the spot. There was something said about your signature, too. I would like you to clear that aspect.
About my
your
signature?
Your own signature, your name on the, what is it called?
On the
Yeah,
paper, yes,
yeah.
I am standing here before to say that I have consented to the signing of the
Thank you, sir.
of the petition. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Honorable Lai Mohammed. Sorry, Lai Wala.
Anyway, it's my son, so. Mr. Speaker and my colleagues, I stand before this noble house. I stand before this August gathering to join my colleagues to condemn the purported petition written against the purchase of vehicle. Much has been said about this purchase of vehicle, so I don't need to dwell on that. But what really worries me has to do with a publication that we read in the Punch newspaper of last Saturday, that one of our suspended officers that was attributed to him, that he said our highly respected, highly responsive and responsible Right Honorable Mundashiru Ajayi Obasa is an autocrat. I stand before this house to say that, and to state categorically, sir, that our honorable speaker is not an autocrat, but is a democrat and a team player. I stand before this house to say that the right honorable speaker allows popular views of honorable members to prevail on every legislative issue that we table before us. An instance is the purchase of the official vehicles. Much has been said on this, but I need to state that none of we, the beneficiaries, rejected this vehicle when we were given this vehicle. Why now are they crying? I wonder why they are crying now. Mr. Speaker, sir, I need to state that I know you to be a man of high integrity. You are loyal to the party, and you are loyal to any cause that you believe in. And I can say that I support what Honorable Desmond said, as well as other colleagues, that I'm passing a resounding vote of confidence on you, sir. And I'm saying categorically that I am strongly behind you. I'm not only behind you, sir. The entire people of Mushin Constituency 2 are solidly behind you. Thank you so much, sir. God bless you.
Honorable Shokunle.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Firstly, I want to condemn that faceless articles on issue of vehicles. Number one, I don't even believe the man knows what he's talking about. There is too much variance in the issue of figure. That's number one. Because I remember that day at the parliamentary that we should go for innocent. Another member, shouted against it. And we all agreed, that we should go for Prado. And I don't know why all this noise. I don't know why this period, why this time around. And, when there is action, there will be discipline. I really want to thank you and appreciate you, Mr. Speaker. Other colleagues, I want to appreciate you all that for our last move in sanctioning some honorable members that we believe that they are ungovernable. I want to thank you for that because I signed at will. Nobody forced me to sign. And if they should bring the paper again today, I will still sign until we believe that they are governable. That is number one. Number two, on the issue of the second, what do you call it, is it petition? The write-up, the interview granted by the chief whip, former chief whip of this house. I am highly disappointed in him. Anyway, why? Because he is the chief whip of this house, former of this house. He's supposed to know better. Using the word dictator, that means he's attacking Mr. Speaker. That means he's attacking us. He's attacking the whole house. So if he's attacking me, we should be able to let him know that what he has done is wrong. So on that note, Mr. Speaker, we should, before the contribution from the honor, I wanted to suggest, request that we should suspend that committee from we constituted the other time, headed by Honorable Ayode. But this time around, maybe the committee can still continue, but special committee should still be formed that will look into the case of Honorable Bureau concerning that interview granted by him. But if we discovered that this vehicle of a thing we are talking about is from honorable member as well, I think sanction should still continue. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Honorable Ajani.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. This weekend, sir, I also read many articles in the newspaper. I want to say, Mr. Speaker, that fake news has become a bane in our society and is slowly degrading the state of our media in this country, sir. Immediately, I took a stand against what was said in the petition on our local Lagos mainland platform. And immediately, I was also attacked by people on the platform, saying, how can I say such? Sir, I'm standing here proud that I stood for the truth immediately and debunked what was said and debunked what was being sent around. I was being attacked. People were saying I should immediately clarify why I've said it's a lie. Why am I saying such things? I kept quiet so that I could make my submission on the floor of the House, sir, which is that as a new member, I've only collected one vehicle. I don't know about any other new member in the floor of the House today who may have collected two, but sir, only one has been given to myself to use. It's not even mine to own at the moment. I'm hoping it is boarded to me. By the grace of God, I sustained the entire tenure. So, sir, we would like anybody who's making these ill and vile submissions to stop what they're doing immediately. Because an injury to you, sir, is an injury to myself, which I felt yesterday when I saw the petition, and I know it's an injury to every one of us standing and sitting here today. Thank you, sir. This is my submission.
Thank you. Honorable Lua.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I also want to lend my voice on this issue, because this is a serious issue. It is a serious issue. But Mr. Speaker, my own worry is, why is it now? Because these vehicles we are talking about, I think, have been disbursed. I took one the end of my tenure, the end of 2018, the other one about 3 months ago. And this vehicle, we have been using it. They didn't say anything to them. I was a bit worried that the writer of this petition, maybe he didn't know the vehicle that was given to us, a bigger version was also given to the executive. A bigger version was also bought by the executive. We bought Prado Jeep, they bought maybe GAC, GMO. I was even expecting him to talk about the side of the executive. Yeah, even the principal officer, he didn't mention that. So, Mr. Speaker, I don't know if it's out of place. We can invite him to come and tell Lagosian why or what he has seen to the write-up of all this petition. And I'm also worried about something, sir. He also mentioned that those vehicles has no custom papers. So I was wondering, how did he know? Because my own vehicle has custom paper. Mr. Speaker, I think we need to constitute another committee to know where all these things are coming out from. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Honorable Tijani.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I also read the petition over weekend, and I saw it as false information, business, and not true. Because All what Mr. Speaker does this house is a unanimous decision. And as a lawmaker, a legislator, I don't think there is anything wrong having an official car. So, Mr. Speaker, I want to tell you that this is a kind of distraction, and I want to appeal to you that you should not allow all these angel of dooms to distract your attention from your good doing. Thank you, sir.
Honorable Gundimu.
Thank you, Right Honorable Speaker, and good afternoon, my colleagues. Well, I don't want to talk before because I feel that I'm one of the committee, member of the committee appointed to look into the issues. But I think it is imperative for me to just say this. Well, going in line of Honorable Jimmy Mohammed, where he said that well, there are bound to be conflicts, right? I agree that it is our agreement to get the vehicles and being bought, right? But if there are disputes, yes, we should look for a way to resolve it. And we are elected members of this house. The public, they are bound to really say some things, whether right or wrong. So, you know, and I think our duties are to engage them, to be able to hear them and put them in the proper perspective. We are not the only one in this. I've read severally, you know, on the pages of newspaper where the National Assembly has been attacked as well on various issues. So, you know, if we have all these type of issues at our hand and those people can be traced, I don't think it will be out of place to really engage them, to hear them out, give them the true version of the story, and let's really put the record straight. So, and I think that is part of what I feel. In all, for the aspect of the internal crisis that might have been on, well, like you have rightly done, I think we should look into it and put everything to rest. Thank you.
Honorable Jude. Good afternoon, my speaker and my honorable colleagues. A lot has been said here by distinguished colleagues. However, I just want to add one or two things. Like my chief whip have mentioned, what she said, especially when we are talking about the 8th assembly on the backup card. Some of us agitated to have a financial cash. But you said no, that you must keep to the terms of what is expected at the level as we, being lawmakers, and the law is that we should have a car. And you did it. Like she mentioned, if it has gone the other way around, I don't think even me speaking here would have had the mouth to speak. But because you are a honest man, let me be fair. Sir, you might not be a perfect person, but you are a just man. You have been always be a just man, and you're a good leader because you have always done your best to carry us along. When the main vehicle, the Prado issue came up, I know even initially you rejected, but we prevailed on you to please give us that opportunity. I, for one, I was so happy to have that privilege, to have that vehicle. And sincerely, it is not a personal vehicle like my colleagues have said. It's official vehicle. And I know by the end of the tenure, if it's the will of God, we are here till then. Maybe either we must pay for it, or if we cannot afford to pay for it, then it's an official car. So it's not as if my name is written there. It's Lagos State House of Assembly. And I want to also thank you, at least, for being a good listener. You are somebody who is a grounding and you listen to a lot of people. And even you mentioned the last time we were here that one of our leaders have prevailed on you to ensure that things are resolved. And you set up a committee led by Honorable Layode. And the committee, I believe they are working very well. However, I want to mention here the article of the write-up of Saturday. I read it. And I saw my name was written black and white. Even my constituency was mentioned. But I stand here to say, I was here and I signed. I'm an adult, for God's sake. I'm above 50.
and nobody can compel me to do what I believe is not right. And I believe what I did by signing was for the interest and the betterment of this House of Assembly. And I always say it, Mr. Speaker, you have been doing well, and if a second opportunity is given, I will sign again. So, sir, I want to tell you that we are with you. You have not disappointed us. You have been a fair, I'll call you a Daniel that have come to judgment, no matter how it is. Like I earlier said, nobody is perfect, but you are doing your best to carry all of us along. So whoever that have issues with the House or have issue with you personally should meet you and get it resolved. The good Lord bless you and bless all of us. Amen.
Thank you. Honorable Okolao.
Thank you very much, Mr. Speaker. I want to say, without any fear of contradiction, that we all took the decision here for the purchase of a Prado Jeep. Somebody suggested Prado Fortuner. We opted for Prado Jeep. And I don't see why that should be an issue. But Mr. Speaker, for the petitioner who wrote petition that been bandied around, I want to say that he who allege should prove and must assert. Such a person, I want to believe, is not faceless. I want to implore this House to invite such a person to come and prove what he has alleged, and for us to let him know the facts behind, what we have done. All that we have done it in good faith. For every officials that were of the state at our level, it is a common knowledge that we must be provided, an official vehicle to do our work and do it effectively. So it shouldn't be an issue at all. So, Mr. Speaker, I want to avert that we call for the petitioner, we engage him to straighten up issues. Again, sir, as a student of management, we're taught crisis management, conflict resolution, and all that. I want to say here that, Mr. Speaker, in dealing with all the wulabalu that we have gone through some weeks ago, that God Almighty will give you that wisdom of Solomon to continue to steer the ship of the Lagos State House of Assembly. I thank you, sir.
Thank you. Honorable Wage.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Distinguished colleagues, I thank every one of us. I want to come up again with this statement that whether a leadership is democratic, autocratic, bureaucratic, and so on, it is not as important as the purpose it serves. But for the best form of performance or government, let whoever emerges rule. What is best administered? Hello? What is best administered is the best. We don't need the most important person. We don't need the most effective person. We don't need, in fact, the utmost best to be able to stand as an institution. Whatever we have put together by ourselves, let us nourish and at least appreciate it. Mr. Speaker, you are not the best, but you are good for us. Mr. Speaker, we pray in our own capacity that this your own regime, your leadership and headship of this institution will better all of us. Not just the legislators, but the entire House of Assembly. Now, I remember vividly, without missing word, that I was part of the decision to, when it comes to the idea of buying vehicles for us. I mentioned it. I remember I was with about five of us. I said, for the particular options made by Mr. Speaker, that is the Toyota Fortuner. I said it has no second-hand value. If you are looking for something, let us look for something that is durable. I said I've checked online for this car. To some extent, I know the capacity of this car. But unless there is no enough financial muscle, otherwise, Prado could have been the best. We discussed at length, and at the end of the day, what we wanted was what Mr. Speaker did. So, why the hula baloo? Why the noise making? But at the same time, they will always make noise. They will surely make noise. We are all leaders in our respective capacity. And if they don't make noise about you, then you are not worth it. Take, for instance, you are the one they voted for. You are the first person they will ask. And you are the first person that they will touch. So if they are now making noise, saying this, saying that, of course we have to bear it. Because it's part of the character of being a politician. So in the light of this, we see it as a welcome idea from them. But no matter what, if you are not within, you cannot understand what is going on inside. Because most of them, they don't have what is the insights or what is existing, and they want to cry, for the bereaved more than the person that is bereaved. So in the light of this, let us implore them that before they come out with whatever, whether fictitious or whatever information they have to make sure that they look into it. They have to make sure that the object is informed. They have to make sure that they know the integral part of what they're talking about, not by just going to the media, because we are all tired. Over the weekend, it was everywhere. Come to think of it, I was not part of the 8th Assembly, and I know my other colleagues, about 11 of us, were not part of it. So how can somebody be asking me about my second car? I said, of course, I have my car, but not from House of Assembly. I had my car before I came, and I know each and every one of us have 1 or 2 cars. So why the noise about this? Anyway, they have made us to know that definitely we are going to get another car. And I think by the grace of God, we will live to see that coming. God will help you, Mr. Speaker. God will help the entire institution, that what the institution is made for is what we will achieve at the end of the day.
Okay.
My colleagues, excuse me, sir, I want to implore that we should try the best possible we can to ensure that we are acquainted with the rules and orders of the House, so that anybody that asks us questions, while we are anywhere we are, we should be able to say 1 or 2 things. Thank you very much.
Honorable Satonji.
Thank you very much, the Right Honourable Speaker. I want to start by asserting that the Right Honourable Speaker is the right man for the job. He's the best man for the job. It's unfortunate that in a democracy, the legislator is always, or the legislative arm of government is always the whipping boy. A lot happens in the executive, nobody cares about that. Well, whatever we do in the House is what they're talking about. In this instance, when we were discussing the parliamentary, the Speaker was not even particular about members alone. The Speaker was also suggesting there are officers of this House who are civil servants that needed vehicles. And he was even fighting for them at the parliamentary. He was not even particular. We're talking about members there. The Speaker was talking about the staff, so that he needed to get vehicles for them. But people just want, to use every opportunity to malign the image of the House. It's very unfortunate. And I want to state that, in addition to what my colleague have said, I want to make a little bit of amendment to the motion by saying that we go ahead and pass a vote of confidence in the Speaker, because he has been doing extremely very well. He has been fair to us. No human being is perfect. Everybody has one challenge or the other. But this man has been doing exceptionally well. And that's why I want to move the motion, in addition to what my colleague have said, that we, at this moment, pass a vote of confidence in the right Speaker. Thank you very much, sir.
Thank you. Honorable Olumo.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. The Lagos State House of Assembly is an institution that is worthy of emulation, because we come in here to learn, and people learn from what happens within this institution. I can say it confidently anywhere that I'm proud to be part of this institution since I joined about 9 months ago. And who is the symbol of this institution? It's Mr. Speaker, Right Honorable Dr. Mudashiru Obasa, who some people have addressed as being dictatorial. If you are a dictator, I like your type of dictatorship. Because he's a dictator that at the odd hours of the day, you will meet him in his office. We still go to him to consult him for various things. And he's always ready to listen. He's always ready to go our way. So I don't know whether that should be termed a dictator or a parliamentarian or maybe a liberal person. Sir, if Right Honorable Mudashiru Obasa is a dictator, I know Nigeria is feeling this type of dictatorship now, because the speaker in this country is the #1 speaker when it comes to House of Assembly. So I imagine why it should be addressed as a dictator. But having said this, I just want us to learn one thing, that we must learn to appreciate what is ours. If you don't appreciate what is yours, some people will buy it for cheap money from you. Let us appreciate that which is ours. Obasa is ours. It's an institution that is worthy of emulation. Thank you very much for giving me the opportunity to speak.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, I want to commend the mover of the motion and contributors. Please permit me to say that this is a democracy, and in a democracy, the freedom of speech is a very integral part, so long as somebody is responsible enough to be able to substantiate or to support whatever he or she says. If somebody wrote a petition, we will not be shutting the person off. We will not be seen to be intimidating the person. The person can write a petition, and we have what it takes to defend the petition. I think we should concentrate and avert more energy into putting our facts together in response to the petition. But I still see the petition as fictitious so far, because I read through it. I could not see any telephone number for a contact or an address, forwarding address, to check out the writer, maybe to interact with him or her. But whatever it is, let us wait. I know the vehicles that were purchased in good faith. They were purchased in line with official entitlement of members of the House of Assembly. The Revenue Mobilization and Fiscal Commission regulations are very clear on what grade of vehicles honorable members of the Assembly are entitled to. And I don't think that car, that SUV that was purchased for us, was out of order. I would think it's an official vehicle anyway. Some of us, God has blessed us to have ridden vehicles in the past, and I know a Toyota Prado, by all standards, is an official vehicle. It's not a luxurious vehicle, that I know. But if anybody sees that luxurious, well, the people who authorized that purchase for the grade of membership that we are, know that it's not too much for us to write. And I want us to know that it's one of the prices of leadership to pay. When people come to afflict you or to attack you, even when you are doing what is right. In the Bible, Jesus Christ was giving worse doses than that. In the Quran, Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam received worse than that. So it is not too bad if people say things like this, but we have to engage them and to pay our price of leadership. I want to beg us not to lose focus, not to be distracted, and not to lose sleep on this, but to wait patiently for the formalization of the petition. So when it comes, I know that we have more than enough grounds. I don't want to be saying that here. We have more than enough grounds to defend the situation. People may talk of morality and legality. Even morally, we are not supposed to do any other work according to the Code of Conduct Bureau, apart from full-time legislative business. And people, unknown to people, we have everyday work and schedules as legislators. People just think it's only when we come to plenary. We do a lot of other jobs. In the last 3 weeks or so, I don't think I've slept in my own house more than 3 times. All because of the House of Assembly, going up and down. And I know that's the same thing almost with all the colleagues here, if not worse than that. Oversight functions, traveling here and there, and we don't have implement of adequate research assistants to work with us. Most of the work and yet, people say we cannot even have a vehicle to take us around. The vehicle, like my colleagues have said, don't belong to us. They belong to the government. It's just for our use while we are here. Mr. Speaker, I want to appeal to my colleagues not to lose any sleep on it. Let us wait and see. I know we shall try. Thank you very much, sir.
Honorable Afini.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Good afternoon, my colleagues. Yes, a lot has been said today, and I think I just have to lend my voice in passing a vote of confidence on you. However, before I sit down, I would like to mention that being a new member, I was inaugurated into the House of Assembly on the 7th of June, 2019. And this is barely 9 months and just a few days. Yes, 7th of June. So when the article says that 11 months, some vehicles were bought, and they could not clarify that it was not the 40 members of the 9th Assembly that got the Toyota Corolla they were talking about, the first set of 40 cars they were talking about. I don't know why you'll be writing an article and you cannot do some investigation or some research to know into what you are writing, to write the proper thing as not to mislead the public. So then, on that note, on the issue of the car mentioned, also on the issue about the in-house procedure for and the rules that have been mentioned by the Chairman House Committee on Judiciary, Human Rights and Public Petitions. The rules have been stated very clearly and is unambiguous. However, some people have raised the issue of looking for political solutions to these issues. Well, I know that is possible. However, we shouldn't be arm-twisted by articles, petitions, or interviews. They should leave us to do the things the way it should be done, and for Mr. Speaker to interpret the rules as the rule book has said. So, in line with this, I would like to just state again once more that I support the motion being moved by Honorable Olowo, and I stand in support of Mr. Speaker. Thank you, sir.
Honorable Sylvester.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I believe and support with the issue that have been mentioned since with my fellow colleagues. The comrades, the so-called Comrade Bina, said it on his social media that 80 vehicle was purchased in the 11th month. And to me, I'm a member of 9th Assembly. And we all agree at the parliamentary that we needed an official car, which we persuaded the speaker, and I'm one of them that said it, that we love Prado. And he did mention it for us that he's going to give us a car. But to me, after like a month that we had the parliamentary, he called first 10 of us to go and pick up a Prado in a place in GRA, which I was so happy. But to now be hearing it now that 80 vehicle was purchased in 9th Assembly, I believe that is a typical lie. The backup was given to the 8th Assembly, which is Toyota Corolla, and 34 Prado was given to the members of House of Assembly. Why the principal officer received a Toyota Land Cruiser. I was so happy to even having a Prado as a member representing Ekpe constituency, a first-timer, and for me to even be using it in my constituency is a slap for using a Prado, because this is a vehicle that my former chairman has used in 2012. Why is it now that people will now be agitating that House of Assembly member in 2019 are using Prado? I believe, Mr. Speaker, with your good office, you should not let this kind of issue bother you much. This is a political gimmicks that, you know, they believe we are in one umbrella and we believe in one voice. Having seen the issue that have been happening since last week, I believe you can still mediate within the leaders of the House. Let's see ourselves like brothers and sisters. Mr. Speaker, the comrades, I believe the comrade that has written this kind of petition is infected with coronavirus. Thank you, sir.
Honorable Naim.
Thank you, Right Honorable Speaker and fellow colleagues. Well, all has been said. I don't have much to say. I just want to support Honorable Kasumu, where he said he read a punch, precisely 14th of March. What I want to talk about is the caption.
Can you please make use of the mic?
Okay, sir. What I want to talk about is the caption where they said, Obasa acts like a dictator. I want to condemn that statement in its entirety. I want to say that in this House of Assembly, you have been employing dialogue, and you have never for once employed the use of monologue. I want to say that in this House of Assembly, each and every member of this House of Assembly will come to your office. Your office is always open to everybody. We don't even knock your door before we enter into your office. Even though by the time we even get into your office, even though you have visitors,